So I'm Keisha Green, and I'm from South Carolina. I went to Columbia College for undergrad. It's a small liberal arts school. And from there I went to New York University for a master's in journalism and communications. And from there I worked for 5 years before going to Emory University for a Ph.D. in educational studies. I'm here at Rutgers under the guise of Presidential Postdoctoral Fellowship, which is a nice, in my opinion, a nice break between graduating from Emory with a PhD and starting a tenure track position. So technically I have 2 years to get a handle on what it means to be an academic, a scholar, find my voice. I have an opportunity to write some pieces for my dissertation, and I'm able to teach a class. And the pace is such that it allows me time to breathe a little. I wanted to document the literacy practices that were at play in the context of a radio production program. And so high school aged youth were working together to create a 30-minute live show for a community-based radio station. And so they met regularly, weekly, and I met with them and essentially became a part of the community and really tried to document what literacy looked like in the space and how they were gaining academic literacy skills, critical literacy skills, learning how to read and write, critiquing scripts, asking questions, conducting research, all of these necessary academic skills or school-based literacy skills in the context of something that was fun and engaging and something that their peers were engaged in. So that was part of the dissertation. And along the way I found that it was also a form of civic engagement, so they were able to practice civic participation as a result of being journalists on the air and talking about relevant issues. So they really started to figure out what's important to us and how might we lend our voice to the issue. They talked a lot about how adults are constantly framing the issues and coming up with solutions or telling us what we should do. And so this radio forum offered them a space for them to tell the stories of their lives and for them to represent themselves and in their own words. I think about my own process from an English major as an undergrad, master's, and then working as a journalist a little bit, and then now education. And so I also think a lot about how the dots are connected and how that journey makes sense, because I don't have a master's in it, and education was not my major in school. And so that's probably why I'm also interested in non-traditional educational contexts, because that's where most of my experience is in. Primarily I've taught, but most of the experience I have with education is in a non-traditional context, and I think that makes it's perspective, so I think that makes for a richer lens and experience. And so I don't have to be convinced that theater programs or that arts collectives or that activist organizations or radio collectives have something to say about excuse me, teaching and learning. And so I'm open to finding ideas and strategies and answers, if you will, from a variety of sources. And so I guess, just if other people are looking and trying to figure out their journeys, just knowing that you make sense of it for yourself, and by reflecting and figuring out how one thing might have inspired the next.